Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Josh, my friend, this is our third news in a row. I don't know what order these are going up in, but we're getting there. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Turns out more things came from Activision's conference call on February 4th in relation to some major delays. Now, both these games didn't really have concrete launch dates, but they were very much penciled in for 2021. Those games being Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, which on the conference call, Blizzard said that they don't expect them to hit their 2021 release dates anymore, or at least be released in 2021 anymore. I, for one, had forgotten that Overwatch 2 even existed, and for the most part, Diablo 4 as well. How does this news hit you?
Unsurprising, because I never felt like the Overwatch 2 marketing campaign in particular really got off the ground. We had that big announcement, and then like you said, it was sort of radio silence, at least in the mainstream, for a long time, and people were kind of confused, didn't really know what was going on. Diablo 4, obviously, Blizzard need that to be a hit, I think, after just how many controversies they've stepped in over the past few years. That needs to land with a big bang and resonate with fans. So, considering that and considering the year that we've had and the fact that there are so many other games going to get delayed this year, it's just inevitable. I hope they take the time and, make these games as good as they can be. But I'm worried about what the hell's going on with Blizzard at the moment. Because obviously Vicarious Visions was recently merged with them. They're apparently making the Diablo 2 remaster. But then the team that was working on Warcraft 3 Reforged last year and originally working on the Diablo 2 remaster has apparently quietly been just disbanded, and now those employees are having to re-interview for roles inside Blizzard. So I'm like, what's happening? What's going on within this company,
Yeah, that's some Google style, let's shut down Stadia, but you can reapply for a different job in the same company somewhere energy. I don't know, Blizzard, they've kind of gone from being this sort of kind of the same thing with Bethesda, this sort of all-round lovable entity. It's, I can't wait to see what they're doing next. To just, obviously there was the merger with Activision years ago, 2006, 7, whatever it was, way back in the day. And then I feel across the 2010s, they've got gradually more or less lovable. And I love Overwatch, but I dropped the hell off Overwatch when they started rolling out the DLC characters. I don't know what it was, but I feel like that's a shared sentiment that some people just kind of just dropped off it. Yeah. And it kind of feels like with Overwatch 2, they announced it, and a lot of it was, well, you don't really need this. You already have you have your platform to plug stuff into. Clearly, you've done that with the characters and everything. And then they didn't really clarify the necessity of a number 2. Why would we spend an additional unit cost on this thing that we don't necessarily need? And then their answer to that was just to sort of back away and not do anything for a year or whatever it's been. So that stuff's weird. Do you think in regards to all the delays, kind of a wider question, should the industry as a whole just have a big old Zoom call and agree to do it at once and just tell us everything that's not coming in 2021? Because at some point,
I think,
this is going to be every week. There's going to be something delayed. I think it was Jason Schreier at the very start of the year was like buckle up, every major game is getting delayed. And I wonder if on the company side they're all trying to do a CDPR, just sort of patch and stay play, and we can get it. Don't worry, we'll get something out. But for me, I would welcome a giant rip the bandage off, let's just get on with it style approach.
Me too, man. I mean, the year that we've had, the past 12 months or whatever, since March, since, everyone started working from home and stuff, I feel like a lot of the companies have, they've obviously conceded delays and stuff, but they've kind of been working with the assumption that they'll be able to just patch it up and get it out. They'll be able to just, make it as good as they can and hit those release dates. And I want companies now to start being more honest with the fact that this is going to take time, man. Game development was hard enough anyway, and now with these added frustrations, it's going to take even longer. So I don't want to see another Cyberpunk situation where they're dropping dates and saying it's gone gold when really it needs more months in the oven. I'm sure they've got a lot of pressure from shareholders and fiscal targets they need to hit, but it's it's just mad that you've got all of these companies just kind of trying to push through, pretending that this isn't a big deal, when obviously it is a big deal and it's really impacted how these games are made. So like you said, we've had Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 right now. We had Returnal was delayed a month, the other week. We've had the Lord of the Rings Gollum pushed to 2022. It feels like a lot of games are going to get delayed, but ultimately that should be for the best. No one wants to repeat a Cyberpunk situation. No one wants to repeat an Avengers situation. Even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I had no idea the extent of that game's issues on the last gen machines. That has a lot of bugs and a lot of things that are just not working as they should. And it's there have been too many examples of these games pushed out when realistically they could have done with a lot more time, in dev.
The mounting conversation just seems to be that, like, well, not necessarily seems to be, but is like hovering around the idea that the consoles were released a little bit too early. But obviously they just didn't know. Like, no one's going to know the reality of just how much it affects individual dev projects until those deadlines don't get hit, and it's, oh my god, we need to push this back. We need to push this back. Like Halo Infinite was such a last minute delay, to the point where if you bought all those Monster Energy cans that had the tie-in XP bonus, you can still redeem it, and then they give you a code that you're just going to hang on to for a year, and then put it into the game when you eventually get it, because they already gone forward with the advertising. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, in regards to, you know, like when they can even deliver on something like an Overwatch 2 or a Diablo, like you need those, you know, entities to be in place in regards to the staff, the projects, the art assets, everything. And maybe that just literally isn't doable, but they don't want to admit it publicly. So you get little conference call things like this. But yeah, I mean, like for me, like one of the biggest games of this year is still God of War 2, and because Sony won't acknowledge that at all, the only thing we're going off with that is they didn't give it a release date in the fine print of their last State of Play trailer. Or they didn't mention it for 2021, but they did for Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Gran Turismo. That makes me think that that's just another delay waiting to happen. And I wonder if just overall it's just something that where they're kind of pretending CDPR style that like we can make it work, and maybe they can, like per dev studio. But in a way, like, I mean, I think they could have done this more publicly, but I guess I applaud Blizzard at least saying up front, you know, in February, we're not going to hit this for the rest of the year, and we just need more time. I guess, like, where do you come down on the whole, like, they could have just waited an extra year for the systems, that whole thing?
I mean, well, when it comes to the systems, like you said, it was so... I feel like there was so many gears already in motion. Like these launches were obviously planned way before we had any idea we were going to go into a lockdown or whatever. And I felt like every industry across the globe just been going on the assumption that it'll be all right. It'll be all right in 4 months. In 4 months, everything will be back to normal. Obviously, that keeps getting pushed back to another 4 months every single time that 4 months is up. So the consoles came out, and you know they're still selling really well. You know, people can't really buy them, and scalpers are a big problem. But Sony, you know, recently recorded like massive profits. I think that the PS5 shipped like nearly 5 million units, and it's doing really well in spite of the production issues. So it's not like, you know, they're really lamenting the fact that they've launched this system early, because they're still getting so much interest. People are still craving the product and stuff. And I think it's just a case of, you know, some games are still going to come out and they're going to be like massive successes. Like Hitman 3 just came out. That's an awesome game. We've got plenty of titles lined up for May. We've got Resident Evil. We've got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition that was just announced. But you know, I think it's just going to be a case of, while a lot of games do hit, a lot of games are just going to have to hold up their arms and be like, look, it's not doable, we're pushing it to next year. And I do appreciate that Blizzard has done that, rather than go, maybe we can hit October, maybe we can hit November, and then it comes to October and November and they're like, we can't hit it, we're going to have to push it anyway. Like that, to me, is... Or they
give you like the broken version of it, and it's just sort of like, well, you know, we did hit our release day, all the marketing money, we still kind of did it. You would hope that if any devs are going to learn anything from Cyberpunk, it's that games need time. I mean, it's not that people haven't been saying that for decades, but I feel like Cyberpunk is this neon lit, shining arrows on here sign saying, don't do this again. I guess let us know what you think down in the comments below. The idea that, you know, should the industry just sort of crack on telling us just how many different things are unlikely to hit their 2021 window, or are you better off just going off a sliver of hope that maybe we'll get God of War 2 in 2021?
Not happening.
I don't think it's happening either. Nah. But yeah, let us know what you think of those things. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.